Hi folks, it's Andy. I hope you're having a fantastic day. Welcome to this episode of Kendo Video Feedback. In this series of videos, I take videos essentially that you wonderful channel viewers have sent in to me. We watch it together and I give you some feedback and hopefully everybody learns something. We've got two videos to look at today. One is of a grade and one is of a Shiai. We're going to get to them in just a minute, but before we do, don't forget YouTube magic, like, share, subscribe, leave a comment down below using the word Kendo. What a great Kendo channel. This is the best Kendo channel I've ever seen in my life. Something like that. Help us increase the Kendo population by 762,000 billion trillion people by this evening. That is how you do that. More importantly though, if you like the videos that I put out, whether it's these feedback videos, whether it is the Q&A style videos such as Kendo Rant that I do every week, whether it's the analytical videos that I do or the instructional content, of which there is much more coming in 2025, all of these come to you free of charge. There is no subscription, no monthly fee, no charging you for subtitles. All you have to do to support the channel, and here's the real win-win, is shop at KendoStar.com. KendoStar is the best Kendo equipment website in the history and future of the human race. Of course, I would say that because I own the place. But everyone knows it's true. We're the best at what we do. Established brand with a full team of staff ready to provide you with the best equipment with the best possible service. You're going to shop with us in the end. Don't buy twice. Buy right first time round and shop at KendoStar.com. Okay, let's get to these videos. Okay, so the first one, I believe, is a grading exam. It says, hello, Fish Sensei. I sincerely appreciate your efforts to promote Kendo globally through your YouTube teaching sessions, Q&A sessions, and Shinsa reviews. Oh, no problem. Last August, I successfully passed my Godan test on my 5th attempt. That's fantastic. Congratulations. Well done. Good job. This result was the culmination of a long journey during which I had to overcome wrist, forearm, left ankle, left foot, sole near big toe, and right leg hip nerve issues caused by incorrect execution of Kihon and Waza. I mean, you can get those issues even by doing it correctly, but doing it incorrectly can often make it worse. I focused on building stamina and addressing muscle imbalances in my hips, quadriceps, and hamstrings, which while also undergoing rehabilitation for the associated pains and injuries. That's fantastic, commendable, really. Although I've attained Godan, I recognize areas that need improvement, such as unstable follow-through after striking, timing, distance, Maai, and left leg fumikiri. Additionally, I'd like to get your feedback regarding my seme and tame during Jitsugi. Jitsugi is the matches that you do in your grading, by the way. After passing the test, I've been gaining a better understanding of the concept of tame and developing these aspects further for my next level. I found my Shinsa video on YouTube. My Jitsugi are the second and third ones in the attached video. I am 512C and 512D also passed the exam, who is my second partner. I look forward to hearing your thoughts. Okay, fantastic. I'm going to jump to it in just a sec, but I want to pick up on this comment you make because I think it's really interesting. He said, after passing the test, I've been gaining a better understanding of the concept of tame and developing these aspects further for my next level. This is why, right, and I know I talk about this a lot, but this is why doing the gradings is so important in your Kendo journey, because it often so much is the case that once you achieve the grade, pass the examination, that you start to understand the next level or understand the level you're at in a deeper sense. You kind of, it's not that you kind of, in a way, it's best not to look at it as completing a level, but opening the door to a new one. And you've got to get those doors open so that you can progress along the route, you know what I'm saying? And I think that's a really important thing, and I'm really glad you highlighted it. So let's have a look. You're 512C. Okay, right. So on this side, on the left side of the screen here. Okay. So this is a 5th Dan test. Now let me preface this again. I've said this every time that we look at a 5th Dan test. I am not qualified right now to sit on 5th Dan exam panels, all right? You have to be 7th Dan to do that, okay? So all I am giving you is my advice from the point of view of somebody that has been through this test, okay? And has passed it, okay? So let's have a look. You're on the left side here. Good. I like the start. Good semi. Good ken sabaki, ashi sabaki. I think your kamae would benefit slightly from tucking your chin a bit more. All right. See how I can see between your, I can see underneath the ago of your men there. I can see the like background behind it. I think you will have a better influence on your opponent if you're, so this doesn't slant up, but if you tuck your chin slightly so that you stand, it looks like you stand taller. In other words, this always looks like you're looking upwards, whereas you'll never give a sort, you'll find it harder, I should say, to give a sort of domineering presence from above, sort of this way, even if the other person's bigger than you. Right, but what you don't want to do is, this person's not bigger than you, but you're sort of looking up. See what I'm saying? And I think it will affect the way your ability, you mentioned about the fumikiri, I think it will affect that as well. It will make it better. Wow, what great men, fantastic men. So there's a great semi here. Good tame, okay? So that as the opponent started to step into their cutting distance, you launched the men, and then they had no choice but to react, and you made this brilliant men strike. Fantastic. That is a brilliant men strike. No problem, this is all good. Looks good to me. Yeah, no, there's not a lot to say on this, I've got to say, right? Let's keep going. Okay, so I was going to say a minute ago, that it did look from the other side, there's a little bit of tension in your right hand still. So that means that you have to swing the shinai a little bit bigger. So here, when you go for this sort of aigote and then men, you have to swing the shinai quite a big distance to hit the men. Does that make sense? And during that time, your opponent's coming closer, so you run out of space. Good. I think the footwork is very good. I like how you're generally bringing the left foot together with you. Here, you were a little bit too far away when you launched this. So here, this was an element where you didn't quite have the tame that you needed, and instead you sort of launched before it was really time, and that gave your opponent the chance to strike at your kote here, okay? Now, look, you know, a grading exam doesn't have to be filled with perfect datotsu after perfect datotsu, at least not at sort of the level that we're talking about, all right? So it's not like, okay, as I said, I often talk about this in gradings, is I really think that it's important to look at gradings from the point of view of what you have to show rather of what you have to avoid. So, like, I did the video about grading at different levels, right? And that is a criteria from the International Kendo Federation giving you the criteria of what you have to do to pass. There's nothing on there that's written in a negative way. In that sense, I mean, there's nothing that says do not do, okay? Or candidates should not do. It generally all says candidates should demonstrate X, candidates should demonstrate Y. Do you understand what I mean? So just because you fluff 1 or 2 strikes, it doesn't mean you're going to fail the grading. But I really feel like, you know, you benefit a lot because it looks a little bit like you're leaning back. And I think that you're missing the opportunity to use your posture and therefore your shinai to affect seme towards your opponent in a more effective way. Okay, good. Great first tachiai. Great first tachiai. So in this next match, you mentioned both candidates passed, okay? Good. Fine. If anyone's wondering about these blue things, by the way, I know it's not on yourself, but this is to conceal personalized embroidery on the hakama and on the kote to you know, obviously preserve anonymity. Good. Good exchange. So here, what I want, so I think what the next part of your journey here now is going to be, of course, seme, tame, but I want you to start to think about the concept of sen and taking the sen. So that's taking the initiative. Where are these datotsu being created from and why are they happening? All right. And in this case, it's a case of where you've had this interaction here. Yeah, like this is good. And then one of these hits men, the others hit kote, sort of out of nowhere. It's not out of nowhere, but you know, what, if you're going to do that degote, you need to get them to hit the men, not wait for them to hit the men. And this one looks a little bit like you were expecting them to hit the men. And that's great. If you're expecting them to hit the men, that's brilliant. What you then have to do is push them over the edge to do it. And the sort of simplest way of doing it is once you're here, once you're in your isoku, is there's just a micro movement of maybe this or something like that. Or, you know what I mean? Just get something to push them over the edge. All right, that's what you need to be studying now for the next 4.5 years. So I definitely want to pick up on this kamai thing because I think it's going to definitely influence the quality of your datotsu as well. Yeah, this sort of leaning back sort of impression it's giving, I think it's going to weaken your datotsu. What a great man. So I've mentioned this before. Again, this is an issue with a little bit too much tension in the right hand, which is why you did the great thing in terms of choosing the right waza, but it's just massive. You know, the swing and the shinai is massive because there's too much tension in your right hand, so you run out of time to be able to hit it. Now, where that comes from, it's not where it comes from, but where I could see that, I could see it here in your shinai sabaki. All right, the way that you're moving the shinai, you're moving it with the right hand rather than with the left hand. It's kind of going this way rather than this way. All right, so that's something to think about so that you can make those techniques a little bit more effective. That's a good shinsa, isn't it? I can see why both sides pass. So this is interesting. This is from your partner, and this is something I want you to pick up on. Is you see how your partner is trying to get you to react to their seme, and that's what I'm talking about in terms of that taking the sen. All right, see how they are stepping forward with the right foot, trying to get you to react. Okay, fantastic. There we go. There we go. Look, it's a great shinsa. There's not a lot to say on it. I think, you know, I want you to think about that posture, a little bit leaning back, all right? Bring it a little bit more upright, looking straight on, almost as if you're looking down on them rather than looking up to them, right? And then try to relax. It's easy to say that, but like just focus on that tension in the right arm a little bit, and then think about this idea of taking the initiative. Who is initiating the encounter, and where is this waza being created from? All right, and that's going to be the next thing you need to do in 4.5 years' time. All right, but fantastic grading, massive congratulations on passing it. Great job on your perseverance as well through your injuries and everything. Really, really fantastic. Okay, next one. Right, let me have a quick look at what is written here. So this has been submitted from both players, all right? So I'm giving feedback to both players here. It says, we would both appreciate your feedback, and here's some context from each of us. From myself, the red player, this is a video of Shiai practice between two local dojos. I had a few matches, but I lost this one 2-0. I'm second dan, and I'll be eligible to challenge third dan in February of next year. I haven't been wildly successful in Shiai, and I would appreciate both strategic and technical feedback. Generally, I feel fast. However, this opponent always has the edge in terms of speed, and I feel sluggish. I felt sluggish, especially my arms. What's the best way to deal with faster opponents? I felt I had trouble keeping them in my favor, and I was often fighting him from too close. However, Meiuchi being my most threatening technique is often met with Kaishido if I launch from further out. Good point. And the white player says, in this video, this video is one of the Shiai practices I had with another dojo. I am in the red Menhimo with the white Tusky. Okay, I'm currently 17 and Shodan. Wow, okay. But I would be eligible for second dan by April this year. It'd be great if I could get some advice and feedback on my Kendo as I'm preparing for my second dan test. The specific question that stuck with me is my Kendo, kamae, and posture in Shiai. Generally, I like to keep my kamae where my feet are spread wide apart. My left heel is high above the ground. I find this stance easier to change my movements quickly back and forth. I can also launch forward fumikomi faster. Although I can't fumikomi as far as I can with a narrow stance, still find this kamae more comfortable. However, I occasionally get told by sensei that I'm sinking down too much because of my wide stance. Although I'm trying to fix my stance to be more narrow, I always seem to shift towards a wider stance during Jigeko and Shiai. I've also noticed that many Kendoka in Japan, especially high school and college, have a wider stance similar to mine. Yeah, I know you think that. I'd like to hear your opinion about correct Kendo posture and the advantages and disadvantages of each wide versus narrow kamae. Okay. Thanks for everything you do for the wider Kendo community. Great. Okay. It's a super common question. I'm really glad that you made it. So let's have a look. Okay. Good. Okay. Look. You say your second dan going on third dan, first dan going on second dan, I think is right. Okay. Okay. Okay, good. Okay, so let's start with the red player. Right. Couple of things. One, I definitely want you to fix your kamae a little bit, all right? In that your hips are too far forward, all right? So you end up with this kind of S shape we've talked about, and it won't make a really brilliant quality of strike. I think there's too much tension in your right hand as well, which is why you tend to sort of stiffen up. And when you go to swing the shinai, it's quite a big... Oh, it's not so bad in that regard, but it's a little bit stiff, you know what I mean? You need to be a little bit more relaxed in your wrists. Right, I know what you're talking about this wide stance, all right? And here's the thing, right? When I was younger as well, and around sort of between Shodan to Sandan, I thought the same. All right, I thought the same, and the sensei said the same thing to me as I said to you, and I was like, yeah, but the Japanese players don't do that, and this is better for me and stuff like that. But man, I wish I'd listened a bit more. All right, now the wide stance thing, as you correctly pointed out, you can't do Tumikomi as far. Fine. But not only that, you can't do it as effectively, okay? You can't do it as effectively, all right? And you cannot affect appropriate semi on your partner, all right? Now, what you see the Japanese players do is, all right, maybe there's some high school kids that do that, but the really good ones don't, all right? Because Japanese high school kendo is not all the same, all right? And it's not all the same level. There's a huge variance. But the really good players don't do that, all right? They don't do that. They keep their feet close together, and then when they want to influence or affect their partner, the right foot might come out, right? But that's part of their semi. Now, there are, of course, exceptions, but it's, I mean, you know, I don't think it's good to have this position where you're uncomfortable, but I think you want to use every advantage that you can. And if you're already spread, you've got your sort of kamae spread really wide, you're kind of taking stuff away. And as you've been told, you make yourself smaller, which makes it easier to hit your men. Trust me. All right. Good. Okay, so I understand that the red player said that, you know, with them being tall, of course, and men being their sort of better waza, they're often worried about the kaishido. Makes sense. And of course, how they deal with the faster players. Now, the thing is, faster, you know, speed does play an element in Kendo, but it's not the be all and end all. And the way to beat or take points from players who are faster than you is to have better footwork and have a better understanding of how to impress your semi on them. All right, so how to get them to react how you want them to react, and then you're sort of a step ahead of them in a way before anything's happened. Do you know what I mean? It sounds super hard, and it is super hard, but if you focus on it during practice, you'll start to understand it. I think for the white player, your right arm is a little bit too tense, and that's why I thought before as well that the swing of your shinai was bigger than it needs to be. And that's why as well, the kote point just now was a good timed and well-made technique, but from a technical point of view, like the sound wasn't quite right, and I can tell that wasn't like really high quality tenoichi because it's coming more from the right hand than the left hand. So in like quite a high level Shiai, you're going to struggle to get the ippon. Good. So here for you, for the red player, I think as well, it's really tough because it's the Shiai, right? But I want you to be a little bit more, like you're massive. You know what I mean? Like, I know you're not massive, but you're very tall. I'm saying this as a person that's not very tall, you see. But it's such an advantage for you. You don't have to get caught up in your partner's timing. Yeah, you can play the match at your pace, right? And if you do that, you'll start to have a lot more power over what happens during the match. But here you're kind of matching your partner's pace. And I know that you're a point down, which is an issue, of course. But, you know, you don't need to do that. It won't help you. Okay, so this method of defense is not great. Sort of stepping back as you defend, you're leaving them a chance to make a follow-up strike. When you separate, I want you to do it faster. Okay, once you decide to separate, just walk straight back. Don't just, and keep focused, but don't kind of go this slowly. It's dangerous. This, I can see here, you see, that this men strike. I like what you're doing here on the white side. It's good. But there's just a bit too much tension here, which is why it's not as fast as it could be. It could be even faster. You see, because you stand so wide, you see how you're leaning back? So then, this is on this side, right? So then, when you hit, your momentum's going to have to come from all the way back here to all the way over here so that you can get a decent strike. Or you're going to go up like this and the strike's going to be weak, all right? You need to bring, if you bring that left foot up, you're going to get a more powerful and a faster strike. Oh, good try for the men there on red. Very good. Okay. So, good. Nice door. So, for the red side, obviously, as you mentioned about, like, often losing the Kaishido, you lose the Kaishido most when you, like, throw a men strike out there out of nowhere, which is what happened here. Do you know what I mean? It's kind of like, what you needed to do here was get back to this. Once you came here, watch this. You come around here, then you needed to hold your horses another second, all right? And instead of just launching into a men strike, maybe move with the Shiai a bit first to see how they're going to react. Yeah, if they start going like this, bam, kote or something like that, we don't just throw a men strike out there out of nowhere, or this is what happens. Okay? Good door strike. Okay? It is what it is. So they're the things that I want you to work on there. All right, it's only a short video, all right, and I know I've got to give comments on both of you at the same time, but I think you're both doing super well, all right. I don't think you'll struggle too much with Sandan, and you won't struggle too much with Nidan either. I don't think there's any issue in terms of your gradings. I just take on those points that we've looked at today. And there we go. Thank you very much for sending the videos in today. If you would like to send in a video for me to feature on the feedback show, all you have to do is upload it to YouTube, set it to unlisted, or you can set it to public if you don't mind other people seeing it, but do not set it to private, please, because I will not be able to see it. Okay, and email it to me at mail@kendostar.com and give me some idea of what's going on in the video, and I will give you feedback. Okay, thank you very much for joining me today. Shop at KendoStar, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.